alive!
How do we know she is alive?
I hate when people talk during the movie.
No wire hangers ever! You are tearing me apart, Lisa! Your stupid minds! Stupid! Stupid!
Relax. It's all in bad taste.
Basically, you're a problem, but not as much as a problem as today's episode. Hi guys. I don't know how to start this because I've got my opening crawl, but I don't know whether it's just jump into the opening crawl.
Yeah.
Or just I don't know, I feel like I need
You don't
to
want
like
to chat shit about like how's everyone's holidays been?
Oh no, I've
What's
got that.
everyone up to?
I've got that
Blah, blah,
well
blah.
scripted.
Everyone's been at work.
It is the.
I know, but it's a Christmas special, you know.
It is the. It's our,
How
it's
has
our,
your holiday been? Well, me and Ryan completed 230 million job evaluations, and I'm sure everyone's really riveted to know what they are.
The movies
It's
have
over now, we're talking.
the movies have started going on at school for me. I don't know about you, but the movies are. We watch
Next
Christmas.
week.
You got next week. Yeah, I think my school's a bit more, a bit less
Oh, we had a
interested
virtual
in their
Christmas
students'
jumper day.
future. Wait, what?
Yeah, it was Christmas jumper day.
A virtual Christmas jumper.
It was a Christmas jumper day on the.
Watching Ryan mime strangulation images of Hannah.
But everyone's working at home,
Yeah.
and no one sees each other.
Yeah.
So
And we have more work, if anything.
Yep.
Yeah. So holidays are going great for us. If you can't tell, we're busy at work.
Oh no, but it's been that we drove around and looked at different people's Christmas lights in
I've
the
not-
garden yesterday.
That was like the
Aw.
first. Oh, it wasn't that cute. Don't overhype it.
I
It's
had
kind of
fun.
sad. I feel like I hit my lowest point. And I was like, "What am I doing? I'm wasting my time looking at other people's shitty Christmas decorations."
We had to kill 10 minutes before we went to see.
We went to see It's a
West
Wonderful
Side
Life.
Story?
No, that's not the thing. Yeah, West Side Story. I am losing my mind. We did see Muppets though. We saw Muppets Christmas Carol. So we have been trying to get. I'm not a festive person.
What is with them cutting out? So apparently, right?
Well, the
They've
shit song.
done
I
this for
always thought
ages.
They cut out the shit song.
But they cut out. See, I didn't think it was a shit
No, it's a
song.
shit
This is
song.
Bell's solo, where he's in there Christmas.
Jack was
in
convinced I was
Fuzzy
losing my
Past.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Christmas Past, and she's meant to get this solo song about how much like he used to love her, he's different, blah
But
blah.
it's not
blah.
sung by a Muppet, so who cares?
Who cares? It's not sung by a Muppet.
I
It's
want to
just
see.
her. It cuts it out.
It would have been
brilliant.
a lot better if they'd made Michael Caine fuck a Muppet in that film and not.
I feel
a
like that
human.
would have slightly increased the R rating.
Just slightly.
Slightly.
Just
Just
R
ever
rating.
slightly.
yeah, it was already an
R.
R rating. Now it's an X rating. Now it's like triple X, hardcore shit.
The
There
viewer
must
rating?
be. I mean, this kind of links to the episode we're doing today because I'm thinking about porn and I'm thinking specifically about like
When aren't you thinking?
about fuzzy like creature porn, which again makes me sound really dodgy, but like it will link. I promise you, it will link to our holiday special, the most sadistic, fucked up holiday special yet. But there must be a Muppet porn out there, right? There
of
there
course.
must be a Miss Piggy Kermit Muppet
I
porn.
don't
the
want to
whole-
think about it, but there definitely exists.
That's
There's
the
like,
whole Rule 34 thing, though, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, there's a porn for everything.
Yeah.
There's probably a porn for us at some point.
Oh, please don't.
Don't flatter yourself.
That in my
That would
head.
imply people listen to this.
That's a good point. Yeah. If you're one of our
Liam makes it.
if you're one of our 15 listeners and you want to make a porn about us, I'm not gonna. There'll be no suing. There'll be no copyright. You go for it.
Speak for
Liam just
yourself.
requests a single copy through the mail for
Yeah.
Liam to watch.
I would.
Like,
We would review it on the episodes. But we probably should get started with the episode today. We actually are going to do our Christmas special, our holiday special, even. Sorry, because I want to be inclusive of every holiday and every religion and every festivity. So,
Including Wookiee Life Day.
including Wookiee Life Day.
Star
If you haven't guessed,
Wars,
yes.
nothing but Star
Thank you.
Wars.
If you haven't guessed, we are doing our holiday special on the infamous 1978 train wreck that is the Star Wars holiday special. And obviously, we are joined by the regular cast. I'm going to do my crawl because my crawl introduces you guys, so I need a bit of
I
like.
don't know why I didn't just start with the
No,
crawl.
I want a bit of.
I don't know why you invite us to this podcast when you just want a monologue.
No, this is the thing. I'm getting all my shit out now because it's mostly going to be you two, I think, because me and Ryan are kind of the amateurs here. So let's do the crawl and let's go from there.
He knows a bit about Star Wars.
I don't
He
know.
definitely does not. I don't know what. I don't know what Ryan
Weirdly,
you're
I
reading.
feel like I
Trekkies,
actually
you're
might
more
know
of a
more than
Trekkie.
Liam, but I've
Really?
seen most of the movies bar the last one.
I think you've seen less than me.
That's about it.
Okay, well,
But I know, though, I don't know, I feel like I just inherently know more.
let me get my trailer guy voice going because I need to.
You got to do like the voice
I'm gonna do
things
it.
where you go.
I'm not doing that.
No,
You
go
hear
on.
your poem voice.
Me, no.
Your Batman poem voice.
Long time ago. No, we're not doing that. I don't know whether to like overdub some accompanying music or you guys just want to do that.
Well, I'm not doing it, so.
A long time ago. Okay, I'm gonna actually do it. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, in a period of civil unrest in the Bad Taste Bud studio,
Jack just sounds like he's doing the Harry Potter theme tune. All I can
That
hear
was
is.
also John Williams, that's why.
I was hearing Star Wars.
Same guy.
Harry Potter.
Same guy.
The war for season 1 ended months ago, and nothing has quite been the same since. The wait for season 2 has submerged the galaxy in a perpetual state of terror and tyranny. Our hero, Jack Solo, is stuck in a semi-permanent state of hypersleep, a condition brought on by the evil Emperor Liam and his relentless horde of bad movies. And just, like the inability to stay awake during a 70-minute film. Like, it's just kind of his narcolepsy, mostly.
I'm a grown boy, I need my sleep.
It was in fact the notorious Manos Fet who sent Jack into his cold, unforgiving touch of hypersleep last time, which, he still hasn't quite recovered from. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, A New Hope. I was like simulating, I didn't actually mean to say anything.
Shush, Hannah.
Emerges from the ashes. Princess Hannah.
I'm missing your
That's the
original
whole-
voice. You were channeling Palpatine at the beginning, and now you've gone more
Princess Hannah sets out on a new journey. A journey that will take her to the very edge of her sanity. A quest to find the answers to free Jack Solo from the interminable horror of suspended animation and just being shit at staying awake during
Kind
film.
of sound like Arbed doing a goblin.
Only by unearthing the very best of the very worst of Christmas specials will Princess Hannah free her long-lost love. On the other side of the galaxy, Emperor Liam is about to release the greatest evil so far upon the galaxy of podcasteria. I don't fucking know. His greatest weapon, apprentice of evil and scourge of the galaxy, doing the Emperor's bidding because he's a massive bitch. The malevolent Darth Sheen.
Apprentice my ass. There's no way I would work under you.
Darth Sheen uses his immeasurable power of the Force and the promise of near limitless coffees and takeouts in order to guide our trusty heroes to their doom, ushering them to meet him inside the ultimate weapon, the Bad Taste Bud Studio, where they will meet their hardest challenge yet, the Star Wars Holiday Special.
I would watch that.
You would watch...
I would watch that.
It's probably going to be better than what we're seeing
There
today.
is actually a point in the script where it says pause for applause.
No.
Is this the part?
This is the part. So
I'm here. I'm next to the mic.
pause for Hannah to find where the mic is. Happy Life Day, everyone. Whatever you celebrate, we hope
The
you
11th of December.
Happy 11th of
Isn't it?
December, yeah. Whatever you celebrate, we hope you're having a wonderful holiday season. I'm personally not a massive fan of the holidays. We did kind of have a little
This is
chat.
what I live with.
I'm a bit of a
Pause
Grinch.
for
I'm a
the
bit...
15-minute rant on how he hates Christmas.
It's not 15 minutes. It's one joke where I compare myself to Scrooge, but I also would say I will try and keep the spirit of all of the ghosts of Christmas inside of me and not be a miserly old dickhead the entire time. If I can.
Good luck. That's not going to happen.
It's just depressing, right?
Within 5 minutes of this opening, you were like, oh yeah, it was a bit sad going to see those Christmas lights, weren't it?
I'm going to try to honour Christmas in my heart and keep it all year round.
That's a damn lie.
I think, right, my issues with Christmas. There are elements of Christmas I really like. The films, I honestly kind of love, which is weird. You think I wouldn't like the films because they're mostly like
Give us Gremlins.
overly sentimental and kind of sappy, but I do. No, even Gremlins, like even if you take out the horror ones, I fucking
I
love
love
it.
Gremlins.
I love Gremlins. Gremlins
is
is
great.
wonderful.
Okay, Adrian.
I love Gremlins.
That's going to make no sense to any of our viewers
No.
at all.
But if you listen to our, if you
Inside D&D jokes
I was
probably
about
are
to
the
say,
smartest thing to
if
do.
you watch us while we play D&D, we should start up like a little webcam so people can watch us playing D&D as well.
Nah, I'm good.
You good? But I love the film. Like, It's a Wonderful Life. It's probably my most watched film in the cinema because it comes out every fucking year because it's like, I don't know, it's more of like a tradition. And that was kind of my introduction to Christmas films, and I fucking love that movie. It's beautiful. We went to go see Muppets Christmas Carol like last week, and it was absolutely wonderful. But you guys like Christmas.
I think the first one I have memories of is the Santa Claus. I think that's the
I
one that sticks out the
love
most.
Santa Claus.
Muppets Christmas Carol came after that when I watched it, but I think that's one of my favourites. Muppets Christmas Carol. The Santa Claus, though. How good is the Santa
It
Claus?
is,
We watched
and
both of
it's
those
a proper
recently.
sort
Yeah.
of homage to just the 90s, isn't it? It's before the world went to shite and everyone's still like happy and like it's
We had
just
hope.
This is what because I remember liking Christmas before I was an adult. Like I remember, I've never had a sad Christmas. I got spoiled rotten. I don't know where this miserly
Apart from
old.
because you're
Yeah.
an inherent Scrooge.
I had an asthma attack on Christmas Day once, but other than
Jesus
that, Christmas has
fucking
always
Christ.
been a nice time. I was like, that was fine. I'm still here. It's all right.
I've had no
Mostly.
Christmas problems.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the thing. I don't inherently hate Christmas. I hate like everything that goes before Christmas. I hate all the shopping and I hate how everything's crowded and you can't leave your estate without being in traffic because everyone's Christmas shopping and it's always dark and miserable and I know you don't see sunlight for like 3 months.
Literally, he gives money to his mum and she just buys all the presents.
I literally sent her £100 this morning and she's done everything else.
Sounds hard. Sounds difficult.
She told me
so tough.
She told me the story yesterday though of when Liam bought her a present when he was 12 from the Christmas market.
This is the saddest
and
story
she
ever.
was just like, it was the worst thing I ever received. It was disgusting.
This literally might be my origin stories of why I am a Christmas villain, why I'm a Scrooge, because this literally happened. My dad and me went to a Christmas market in Durham, and I picked her up. I thought it was beautiful. I picked her up this like candle holder, which was like a log, and it had like a lily on it, and she loves lilies, and I was like, oh, she'll love this. And it was like, in retrospect, a little bit tacky, like it was. She opened it on Christmas Day. No, she opened it on Christmas Day. She gave me the filthiest look of disgust, and she was like, "This is the worst present I've ever received." I was like a 12-year-old child, and she still brings it up, and I'm like, "You really scarred me. You ruined me that day."
She brought it up yesterday. Like, that was the worst thing I ever got. The worst present I ever received.
I think that would stop me from ever buying anyone a gift ever again.
Yeah.
I'm just done.
For 1 year for Christmas, right? My nana, my dad's mum, she was a wonderful woman, bless her. I don't know if she just bought everything and then just sort of figured out, oh, so this can go to so and so, this can go to so and so, or whatever. I don't know what the Christmas buying sort of I don't know what the kind of the mechanism or the procedure was. But I, as a 12-year-old boy, got a Winnie the Pooh kite for Christmas.
I would love that.
What kind of Mary Poppins level shit were you living in?
So happy.
I got a Winnie the Pooh kite, and even I was like, "Oh, that was really lovely, and thank you very much." But your mum was like, "Nah, this is fucking horrible. How dare you?"
Images of Jack in the garden just singing, "Let's go fly a kite."
Whereas Liam's mum's, "How dare you darken my doorstep with this gift?"
I think she still has it. She said she still has it apparently in the attic, just hiding away. But yeah, I think that I don't know if that was an origin story. I like Christmas. I like Christmas films. I hate the music. I don't know about you guys, but apart from the darkness and like maybe a couple of
there's a couple outliers.
I fucking hate the music.
As a general rule of thumb, not a fan.
It boils.
It's not something that goes on Spotify repeat. Do you know what I mean? It's but like I'm talking into the bleeding mic.
This entire episode is going to be Ryan and Hannah arguing about her not talking into the mic.
I have line of sight in it.
I mean, there are some excellent Christmas horror films. Me and you watched the one the other day, a Swedish film called Rare Exports that's been out for forever.
That was
really
weird.
fun.
I don't actually know how I feel about it.
Really fun.
It's so weird. I don't have an opinion on whether
remember
I liked it.
a couple of years ago, you took us to see one called Black Christmas.
That was shit. To be
That
fair, in all
I was
fairness.
furious that I spent £10 on that film.
That was the third remake of. To be in all fairness, one of the greatest horror films of all time, Black Christmas, a 1973 horror film called Black Christmas. But it was this weird woke version of it that kind of reframed it. And it just kind of felt like it was preachy to the point of being uncomfortable. It wasn't gory, it wasn't scary, it wasn't fun. Weirdly enough, there were like 3 versions of that film now, and the only good one is the first one. But Black Christmas is great. Krampus is great. Anna and the Apocalypse, absolutely fucking wonderful, which you guys need to see. It's a
Everyone needs to see Anna and the
Scottish zombie Christmas musical.
I'm good.
No, I know, but it's fun. However,
Hard pass.
that's probably where my I've done my notes for this episode, I've done my research, but that's where my expertise as far as movies is going to end, because I am not the biggest Star Wars fan.
You know what's sad though about Anna and the Apocalypse?
Oh, we're back here, okay.
We are back here. Hannah would absolutely love the songs and the music and the story. It's just the zombies that are going to cause issue.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah. But so I'm the furthest from an authority on Star Wars. I don't really have that many special memories attributed to it. Like I remember I watched the original series when I was a teenager, and I really like those first 2 films. Like
What do you mean? You don't like Return of the Jedi?
I like Return of the Jedi, but I think Return of the Jedi is a little bit like I don't like the Ewoks at all. Like they really infuriate me.
But that just
Hold on, Ryan's
me
just
of is
breaking
there's
everything.
What is it, man? There's an old episode from How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
You've not seen that one where it's the Ewok.
I've not watched any of How I Met Your Mother.
So it was a whole thing about how Barney thought this girl had been lying about her age because if she doesn't like Ewoks, she must have been like old when she saw the film, so therefore she was this. Where everyone who's a kid likes Ewoks when they first see them, and
That's
it's like,
fair.
how old were you when you first saw Return of the Jedi? You know?
See, I wasn't. I was like 15, I think. So I was probably in my.
I've never seen one in
20s,
cinema.
I still think they're quite cute.
Well, you do. You think everything's fucking cute.
I've seen some VHS. That's it.
Have you guys, weirdly enough, because this is like not going to be our first foray into best worst territory with Star Wars. Have you guys ever heard of the Caravan of Courage?
I haven't.
It was a two series Ewok TV show. based. I think it was the 80s. They came after
There has been
Empire.
some poor spin-offs.
Yes.
I feel like
I'll
I've
concede
seen
that.
this.
I think it's got a kid and a caravan, literally like an Oregon Trail level caravan. Too. I've not seen it, but it's just Ewoks and a kid, and it's meant to be as abysmal as this. So that's gonna be fun. But you guys love it. You guys are kind of big Star Wars. I'm gonna say nerds. I'm gonna say nerds confidently.
I'll take that. I think I'm probably the worst one of the group. Like I used to watch it all the time as a kid.
Easy.
You're gonna be
Had
our
them on
authority.
tape. Saw like the sequel trilogy at the cinema with my dad. I remember going to see them. And I remember watching the original trilogy on repeat. Loving, especially, I think Empire was my favorite.
Empire's the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love.
yeah.
I still have so much love for the prequels as well.
This is gonna be an
They are
interesting one. Okay.
a tarnished masterpiece. They are like, I think the ideology, like the ideas and the way it puts everything together is genius. I think the execution and the dialogue at times is dire. I'll admit that. You know, I hate sand. It's
Oh my
coarse.
god, I quote that so often.
It gets
So
everywhere.
often. Any opportunity.
I like the water. I don't like sand. It's coarse and it's rough and it gets everywhere.
But again, it's a bit like your Sam Raimi thing, where is it not meant to be deliberately awkward because it's an awkward teenager who's never met a woman in his life before, who's suddenly
yeah.
being,
But you can do it
being told to
better.
be like told to guard this hot senator woman who's like, you know, like is it not meant to be like
Weirdly enough,
deliberately awkward? You know?
Weirdly enough, I do wonder because I only ever saw the first two, and I did hate them the first time I seen them. But I do wonder whether or not reframing them in this like high camp angle might be a lot better because they are kind of camp. They're extremely camp, and that's
I only remember like bits and pieces of them, but what I do know is they are highly referenced in a lot of different media for doing the whole Senate talk thing. The Simpsons has a whole episode on it, and
there's a lot of Senate talk from what I remember.
the movie that gets made in The Simpsons is
love
literally just 2
democracy.
hours in the Senate. And AT&T shows up, breaks in, sits down, puts his glasses on.
Well, what's your opinions on the sequel trilogy then? The Skywalker trilogy.
Mixed feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was it called? I nearly just called it A New Hope too.
It is though, really.
The Force
isn't it?
Awakens.
J.J. Abrams doing everything he
Hope too.
can just to remake
The
A New
Force
Hope.
Awakens, you know what? Fair enough. Good first point
fine.
in a sequel.
Yeah.
It's like, it's flashy, it's nostalgic, it does all of those things, right? It hits those
Yeah.
Star Wars sort of, it scratches that Star Wars itch. It doesn't break any, revelations or any real new ground. But it's an enjoyable film to watch.
Yeah, it's probably what was needed at the time because we had such a long break
It was
from
a hard
the cinematic
reboot,
universe.
so
yeah.
it was. I think it was needed to have that real Star Warsy vibe
But,
and just
you're
feel
right.
like a quote unquote Star Wars film.
Weirdly enough, I attribute that film almost like a Marvel film. It's like perfectly serviceable, but kind of generic to the point
Yeah,
where I
I
don't
can
think
see
I want to
that.
rewatch it.
I can see that argument.
Weirdly
yeah.
enough, I really like. I don't know how
really like
controversial it's gonna be.
second one.
I like Last Jedi a lot.
I have a lot of mixed. Every time I think about it, I have mixed feelings. But
Yeah.
I think they tried to take a lot of risks.
Yes.
Some of them paid off. Some of them
yeah,
didn't.
I agree.
I think what they try to do with Luke Skywalker and subvert the expectations that he's just going to come in and save the day, even though he kind of did,
Yeah.
but he kind of didn't. And the whole, that was an interesting narrative.
Yeah.
It wasn't what you expected to happen. I think everyone just expected Luke Skywalker to come in and be just this omnipotent,
Yes.
mad, badass Jedi and lead the rebellion and probably die at some point because he had to follow the whole Obi-Wan Kenobi
Yes.
sort of
The hero's
plot
journey.
arc.
Yeah.
But it was interesting and it was good to watch. There was some bits, the whole casino planet and things like
Oh,
that.
that's suckballs.
Yeah, a whole new world. It's just like he has a pointless side quest to fill out the film's length a little
Literally,
bit.
yeah. We don't know what to do with you two people. Go over there. Go play on the casino.
Yeah, the Kylo Ren and Rey stuff again interesting. Like light leaning to dark, dark leaning to light, both kind of falling inwards on one another and kind of in a sort of not a kind of moral grey area. And,
Yeah.
People from a classic sort of West Side Story thing where people from opposite sides of the fence kind of seeing common ground and seeing eye to eye. Again, relatively new because Star Wars has often, at least in the main films, been very monochromatic, hasn't
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
It's good as good, bad as
and white,
bad, etc. There's
Yeah.
no middle ground there. A lot of the other Star Wars material, whether it's games and comics and TV
Well, the
shows,
TV shows are
dip
big, aren't
very
they?
much into the kind of ambiguity and the moral, grey areas with the Force and stuff. But in the films, at least, it's always been very black and white.
Very much.
It was something
it's
I
very-
really appreciated. I felt the gravity of those two. It's kind of like they were circling each other. You had those opposing elements and the similarities, and that really drew me in.
And of
What's a
course,
dance?
Ben Swallow.
Ben Swallow, which you know what, I'm all here for that. There's something about what's that actor? Adam Driver.
Driver.
He's there's something about his broken face that just gets me. His broken face. But I really like Last Jedi because I think again it's a filmmaker who is allowed to do something a little bit different with material that I do really appreciate. But I just don't like we are going to get to Rise of Skywalker because that's going to be probably even more controversial. I just don't like the generic. This is just another template of a film that we've seen.
I went into work after we watched the second one, and I'd said to someone I was working with, "Oh, I really enjoyed the second Star Wars movie." He hit the fucking roof.
Oh, honestly, at the
proper
time,
little fangirl, like,
It's a
Yoda
proper
would never
Marmite.
do that.
at the time that came
I
out,
was like,
yeah,
oh,
there
what do you mean Yoda would never do that? You wouldn't burn books, and like.
There are two kinds of people. There are people who think... I don't think I've met anyone who thinks Last Jedi is just mediocre or okay. You either absolutely fucking love it or you absolutely despise it. And I've not met
I
anyone...
enjoyed it, but I'm...
You understand.
I
I understand the criticisms. I understand the issues with it.
Criticism. Rise of Skywalker steamrolls over The Last Jedi, and it may as well have not happened. The vast majority of the plot
And
points.
a lot of it was
the
direct
rebels
response,
escaped.
yeah.
Ren and the two characters talk a bit and stuff like that. The Empire, the new Emperor dies.
Yeah.
It could be summarized in like a couple of bullet points, and it's like you may as well have not watched it because it has no overbearing on the plot. I think what was going to happen that didn't happen with that whole trilogy was I think Leia was going to be a huge part. It was going to be Leia's trilogy.
Yeah,
I think it was going to be Leia's trilogy, like Luke's trilogy was the originals, and obviously that didn't happen due to Carrie
peace.
Fisher passing away.
Yeah.
So they'd had to totally pull something out of the bag and pull something out of their arse because like just handing out Leia's lightsaber as if it was really significant, and it just wasn't really because they didn't have those moments. And
There
didn't
wasn't like
build
build up to it. Yeah, it felt hollow. It felt weak. But I also hate the fact that it was a direct response to fan bitching, basically. Like, it was a direct response to people
Let's go
saying...
back to the templates.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the whole, who is Rey? She's a, person born from no known family. She has no parents, and that's all like, orphaned, classic orphan protagonist sort of thing. Which then comes into, actually, no, you're very important because you're from the very important family. And
Which
that's it.
I just
and that's
hate.
it. It's just your lineage is everything, and everything else is inconsequential.
I hate that as a motif anyway in films where it's like, you're right. Like, the great thing about Last Jedi for me was this idea that anyone can be important, that anyone can be extremely kind of influential, and then they retcon that immediately, like, because fans were like, oh no, you've set up this big mystery, you've set up this big speculation as to who her family is, and you've told us it's no one, and we're pissed off because that's not a satisfying resolution. I lump it in with the films that I absolutely despise. I mean, hell, we run a podcast where we talk about the very worst films, but I just feel like there are certain films that I think are immeasurably worse, despite the fact that I think The Rise of Skywalker is competently made. It has some good special effects. It has some decent action scenes. It's just hollow. It's just this like studio mandate film that, you're right, you get J.J. Abrams anytime you want to make a studio mandate film that's like completely inoffensive. I mean, hell, we just watched Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is the exact same.
Is that
fucking
another
deal.
one of his works?
It's not JJ, but it's the same kind of bullshit where it's like everything in here is entirely made to service fans.
All style, no substance.
All style, all cameos, all references. Where you could just tell me something interesting. And I think, as much as you're right, Last Jedi stumbles at points, at least it's a filmmaker trying to do something with material he clearly likes and doing something interesting and quite inventive with it. Having said that, I think as Disney might be stumbling a little bit with the films, similar to Marvel, weirdly, they're kind of excelling in the TV department.
Oh, yeah.
So Hannah's finally excited to be able to contribute to the conversation.
Well, no, because we did a thing, didn't we, where this was
last year, I think it was during lockdown, wasn't it?
Like, we decided that, because I didn't have much exposure to any of the Star Wars films.
Yeah.
So Jack was like, right, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to watch the Star Wars films, but in order from the beginning. So I was like, oh, yeah, sounds great. And so we watched the films back to back, so they all sort of blend into one for me.
We didn't just do the films, though. We did it chronologically.
Yeah, but we did the series as well. The one thing that really got me into Star Wars, and I would say had I not watched it, I don't know if I'd enjoyed the whole universe as much as I do, and that would be Clone Wars. It was fantastic.
TV show, because there's a movie as well for that, isn't there?
We didn't watch the movie, which I've heard is like a 6 out of 10, fine, forgettable sort of thing. But yeah, we watched like episode 1, Phantom Menace, then Attack of the Clones, and then all of the Clone Wars, and then episode 3, then all of Rebels, and then 4, 5, 6, etc.
But what Clone Wars
and
does...
the Han Solo ones.
There's a lot. It's a bit intimidating, really.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it took us a while. But the thing that Clone Wars does really well is it fleshes out the characters and their motives and their backgrounds, and you really sort of feel like you can step into their shoes and understand the motives for what they're doing, which I think had I not watched Clone Wars, I don't think
the movies would have hit as hard.
Because Anakin
world
turning
building as well,
into
isn't it?
It was absolutely heartbreaking after 7 seasons of coming to absolutely adore his character and his like relationships with Ahsoka and the rest of the Jedi and Obi-Wan, and like you've got some of the best fucking villains in there as well. Like what's his name? Well, hello there. Yes.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I fucking love Grievous. Like, he's one of my faves. And then what's the spider one, though? What's his called? What's
Oh,
her name?
some
Your
General
descriptions
Krell.
are
General
just like next level poetry.
Anyone who's not watched Clone Wars will get it from that noise. But yeah, is his name Krell or something like that? Yeah,
Something like, but they're just
Oh, no, that's
so
the-
good.
Oh,
And
no, that
there's-
was Krell's the other guy. He was the nasty general guy. But anyway,
Yeah.
we're losing them. We're
Well,
losing them.
this is what the universe that you're describing here.
Mentioned the Mandalorian.
What was I about to say? Mandalorian, which I kind of took this spaghetti western approach, which I think I tried with one episode, and I just think I'm not as entrenched in this world to really appreciate it as much.
Anyone can appreciate the Mandalorian. Someone who's a Star Wars nerd will appreciate it more so because of the references and the world building and things. But I feel like what they try to do with the Mandalorian was like the Star Wars whole world is that kind of, the lone samurai sort of thing, isn't it? It's a lot of that inspiration from those old samurai films.
Well, that and the spaghetti western as well, which
exactly.
I think
And I feel like it's almost pulling from, rather than mirroring the actual Star Wars films, it's mirroring the source material the Star Wars films were inspired by. And I can't. There's one episode in season 2 of The Mandalorian. It is basically like a shot for shot, almost like a mini homage to one of these really famous samurai films. I can't remember the name of it though, which is going to boil me.
Probably by Kurosawa.
But yeah, it's like the one with Ahsoka in it. It's like a shot for shot remake of like this.
Oh, now I need to know.
film.
Now I'm like,
it's really it's
not
really,
Seven Samurai, is it?
I can't remember.
No.
Man. It's brilliant though.
Anyway,
but, I think what Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have been doing is really interesting. And Dave Filoni as well, we've talked about him before on the podcast because he's the mastermind of Clone Wars.
Yes.
He left Avatar The Last Airbender to go and work on Clone Wars, and he shot some of the produced whatever.
Nice.
Some of the best episodes in Avatar as well, like some of like
very
season
talented
1,
guy,
like some of the finale of season 1 and all of
Yeah.
that sort of thing. So really epic moments. So he's like a king of animation, and it's nice to see that he's getting more sort of live action projects to work with and stuff, and obviously under kind of as a co-produced or kind of under Jon Favreau. I think he's got the main credit.
Was it? Oh, I'm not going to.
Taika.
Is Taika involved? Is Taika
Yeah.
Waititi?
He's a director in it as well. He directs like.
Well, no, he's meant to be
He
doing
directed a couple of episodes.
Is he
and
meant to
he's
be making a
character.
film as well? I'm sure he's like on
There's talks about it,
I was
I
in talking procedures to actually make a Star Wars
Everyone
film.
wants him to make a film for them at the minute. He's hot shit at the minute, isn't he?
Man, I mean, as fellow What We Do in the Shadow nerds, I
fuck
can nothing but appreciation for Taika. But again, what I like to see, and I really appreciate that the actual universe, the TV universe, anyway, is allowing creators to do things that are creative and different and interesting. Whereas, you look at the Abrams films and it's just a pastiche of bullshit. There's Frankenstein's monster of fan service and crap references and just MacGuffins. And but this is the thing. Like, I remember like hating that film so much because of the way they brought Palpatine back and the way they did this thing. Where I was like, we're not going to explain it. We'll give this stupid arbitrary bullshit
I was talking
excuse.
about this before. Like there is Force ghosts. Like Obi-Wan and Yoda are back. So like life after death and all of these things are not like unknown entities in the Star Wars universe. It's been touched on before, but it was just how sort of shoehorn, how like wedged in. It felt like it was hammered in by like it was just like
It was a board of governors. It was
had
just,
it been like a dramatic U-turn or a dramatic thing, or maybe even like alluded to in one of the other films, it might have gone down better. But it was just like once a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Palpatine's back, yada yada yada. Let's just
don't
keep
worry
going.
about it. Just watch the fucking movie. Pretty much.
Like it had there was no foreshadowing, no overbearing like plot points to it. It just felt like fucking like press the red button, put Palpatine back in. It's like the panic button mode where they don't know what to do with the film.
It takes its audiences for idiots, I think, and it does really underestimates their intelligence levels in this idea that you can't handle an interesting, complex script.
I wasn't underestimating.
Well, no,
the fans literally bitched.
Well, no, but this is the thing. I feel like a lot of the more vocal, it's not the fans, because Jack's a fan, and Jack clearly doesn't appreciate that either. It's the vocal fans. It's the ones that get on message boards and troll the internet. It's the
Every
ones
fandom
that
has them.
Well, this is it. Drag
true.
Race has them, and literally every fucking fandom has them. There are some extremely toxic fans,
The
but
noisy
they're just the loudest
2%
ones, aren't
dragging
they?
down the other 98% in every whether it's anything,
So
any
like-
movement, any fandom. There's always that vocal 2% that make the other 98% look shit.
Before we actually move, because we are going to move on and talk about the Christmas special, because I
we
want to
actually?
take all that. I want to take all that love that you have for it and just crush it in my.
I'm fully aware,
fucking
like,
It
fist.
looks like there's a Jesus Wookiee. I don't know
So-
if you're going to have me hating this film, I'll be honest. I'm really
I
excited.
think the best and the worst Star Wars content is the non-mainstream content.
That's fair.
Like this is obviously I've not seen it. I know it's 22% on or 2.2 on IMDb, 27% Rotten Tomatoes.
The
or something
27% is a mislead as well, because there's like 5 reviews on there, so it's like one good review out of 5, and I think that one good review was like I was high as balls. It was great. Like it wasn't a good review. It was like I was enjoying myself because I was stoned to fuck.
Well, like, a question. Do you think it's a good idea to make a movie about characters who predominantly can't speak?
I can't do the Wookiee
Well, I
noise.
don't know.
I was waiting for Hannah to do the Wookiee noise because she's quite good at it. But
No, I'm not actually that good at it.
Thanks,
It's
she
just
wouldn't be
I
talking to the mic when she did it
semi-imitate.
anyway.
there we go, Jack
I
can do it.
semi-imitate a Wookiee or a pigeon, depending on which one you want to look at when I get annoyed.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's like-
I feel like we might have mentioned this on the podcast once before, but I tend to refer to Hannah when she gets annoyed as Hanha,
Hanha.
which is a bit of a really deep Star Wars reference because it's
Is it a game?
Hanha is a Wookiee from the Knights of the Old Republic games, which are a beloved franchise by
Right.
they were made by BioWare. They were kind of
Ooh, yeah,
were they
yeah,
just
yeah.
before Dragon Age? I think it
Yes.
was a similar sort of conversational and RPG combat system as Dragon Age, where it's that kind of faux turn-based combat sort of thing, but it's like in real time, but like the turn-based sort of. And again, some of the best Star Wars material ever. There, like Knights of the Republic 2, The Sith Lords, is still probably one of my favorite games ever.
I'll have to check it out.
You've got to install the Lost Content mod though, because the end got really rushed. And
Okay.
it was like there's some mods which kind of fix it.
BioWare can't stick an ending? What?
What?
No, I'm kidding. I'm half kidding. I quite like the
Looking
ending
at
of
you.
Mass I quite like the ending of Mass Effect, but I'm half kidding. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting one because I would rank it closer to the Manos level of it's so incompetent and ridiculous that it's hard to not enjoy it. You'll at least be consistently.
It has B. Arthur in. I'm excited.
Well, it has B. Arthur in. It has Wookiee porn in. It has. You're right. Like genuine. Don't. I wanted to mention Wookiee porn, but
Oh
not
my.
actually elaborate on Wookiee porn just yet. Not as in like Wookiees fucking. Just you watch the film.
Can we also talk about June for a little bit?
Yeah. Oh,
We've
you
all
wanted to
seen
bring this
June.
up? Yeah. Let's talk
What
about
a
June.
fucking film, by the way.
Right?
How
Yes,
I've actually
fucking
not had
good
I've
was
not had an
June.
opportunity to talk about how much I like June because we were going to do it on our other podcast, the one that I do with Harry, but he
All
did
right.
never got around to
So
doing
it
it.
is.
My sordid affair. June's fucking wonderful, man. Like,
So good.
I'm currently like halfway through the book, which is a beast of a tome. If I've ever fucking tackled
So
one.
yeah, I wanted to talk about this because
Yeah.
they were written. The first one came out in 1965.
Yeah,
if
I
memory
think
serves.
right.
So obviously considerably before 1977
Yes.
when A New Hope was released. I don't know how long A New Hope was in production for and things. But I was
yes.
just going like, Jesus Christ, how did George Lucas not get sued? Like, just let's look at a few bits. So
Yeah, yeah.
let's compare Tatooine to Arrakis for a starter. Yeah,
Oh shit!
two
yeah.
moons for a start. Yes,
a sand planet.
arid desert planet.
Has sandworms as well, don't they?
Giant sandworms. Yes, you steal them up. Yeah, I'm
Sorry.
getting there. I'm getting there.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
I didn't realize it
Giant-
was this deep either. Yeah.
So yeah,
I didn't
giant
realize this much.
sandworms versus the Sarlacc pit, which was
Yes.
on Tatooine as well
Yes.
in Return of the Jedi. So another big vaginary sand creature. You've got moisture farmers on Tatooine, and you've got dew collectors on Dune.
You've got what now?
DEW. Sorry, that might be my poor articulation.
Yeah,
there.
let's Americanize this. Dew collectors.
Thank you for that clarification there. Spice as a
Yeah.
substance in Star Wars. You've got like
It's pretty much the.
you've got the mines of Kessel where the spice is mined and it's like the most illicit drug and it's one of the most sought after properties in the thing.
Yeah.
In June, it is what it gives. It's also a drug, but it's also used to power ships.
It's like a force power thing as
It
well.
feels a
isn't
bit like liquid karma vibes
Doesn't
there,
it?
where it's
Yeah.
a bit all thing. This
Nice reference.
this substance is all things to all men,
Yes.
sort of thing. You know, it's important for everyone. You've got the Empire versus the Imperium.
Yeah.
Again, Imperial is just another word for empire,
Yeah.
really, isn't it?
Yeah. Synonym empire. That one. Use that one.
And then obviously, there is a lot more of those similarities, but I don't want to say much more because they are leaning more into the Dune
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
And that might be, I don't know, potential spoilers for the next Dune film and things. So I don't want
will see.
to. There is a lot more of those similarities, but I don't want to touch any
Well,
more of them because that might invoke a few spoilers.
I wonder how popular Frank Herbert's Dune was on its initial release, because obviously the original Lynch film didn't come out until '84, which I think was way after even Empire.
Was that David Lynch?
David Lynch was the
Oh, I
original
didn't realize
one.
David Lynch did Dune.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
a fucking train wreck. Don't like it's wonderful, and I really like it, but it's an absolute
There
train wreck.
was a recent re-showing of it in the pictures
Yeah.
before June came out, and we were gonna go see it, but then we forgot.
It's like it's it's an interesting kind of analysis on how a filmmaker such as David Lynch, who is like so adverse to kind of the norm and contemporary work, will try and kind of adapt something and just you can tell like David Lynch is one of those auteurs who you really can't control and you really can't kind of segment to one kind of blockbuster film and you can see it come out. Whereas like weirdly enough, I think Villeneuve, I always pronounce his name wrong. It's Villeneuve, the guy who made the recent one. He kind of finds that sweet spot between art house and blockbuster because he obviously did it with Blade Runner and did it with like films like Arrival as well.
Because he was 20. Did he do 2049 with Ridley Scott, or was it like a?
I think Scott was a producer. Like I think he was involved. So. He manages to find that sweet spot between blockbuster, but you're right. Like it's this grand epic film on a scale that I don't think we've really seen since like something like Lord of the Rings, even really, of like immense world building and just kind of being invested in just the aesthetics and the world and the characters as much as I've been in a film in the longest time. But you're right, like the comparisons, you see that you
Oh, sorry, did I mention the lead character has magic space powers?
Well, magic space powers, yeah.
Well, explain magic space powers.
Well, yeah. I don't know whether he would ever do one, but like I'm desperate to see Villeneuve do a Star Wars film. Like I think at this point, like if anyone's going to really pique my interest in the franchise, I putting him in charge of Star Wars
100% be keen for that.
Would be insane. Well. They go absolutely mental.
But let's talk about the planet Kashyyyk.
Oh, we're gonna do the planet Kashyyyk, are we?
Yeah.
Because it's the Wookiee planet, right?
Yeah, the Wookiee planet. It's been in loads and loads of like Star Wars media, mostly video games, TV shows, and things like that. I don't think it ever has been on the big screen before, bar except this.
Well, I was about to say, you're about to see it.
Monstrous.
It had one release day and it never released after that.
But Planet Kashyyyk's been on I'm thinking of Star Wars again, Knights of the Republic, Republic Commando, which was an excellent game as well. And a lot of the Star Wars. Oh no! Tell a lie. You did see Kashyyyk, didn't you? You saw it in.
You're asking me, but I have no idea.
Yeah, it was Yoda was there fighting in Revenge of the Sith. Yoda was fighting with the clones in Revenge of the Sith.
That's when
they
front games.
jump them out of the mind, isn't it? Like the.
I think I remember that.
They had the big sort of walk on water sort of little two-wheeled sort of droid ships.
God, I really don't remember the prequels at all. Like I've got no memory.
I remember
because you see Chewbacca in Revenge of the Sith.
Weirdly enough, the only memory I have of the prequels is the space pod scene, the racing scene.
No, this is pod racing.
Pod racing, and the weird scene in Attack of the Clones at the end, where they're in the big arena. That's the only two bits I remember of the entire, and the bit in the lava in the
final fight.
The final
fight. Keep going, Liam.
I just remember
this bit, and this bit. Oh, actually, I remember the entire film.
There was one from each movie.
Yeah, there was. See, but I mean, you're right. I think Star Wars is so influential that it's hard to kind of see failures as immense as this and not think kind of how was this allowed to happen the way it happened? And there is quite a lot of history.
Did George Lucas direct this?
No. George Lucas's involvement was really minimal on this. Like it's a weird. I'll tell you what, I'll get into it. So yeah, it originally began its production weirdly enough before New Hope was even released. So this concept.
So I'm going to make a Christmas special of a thing that's not even out.
It was never going to be a Christmas special, but like Lucas envisioned the first film. You're so happy this didn't happen. But Lucas originally envisioned the first film as a film entirely about Wookiees. And this creature that he designed, nothing else, just Wookiees screaming for 90 minutes. That was his original one. Thankfully, that's not the final film we ended up with.
But it was sure we're thankful.
but it was something he adapted then and made into the Christmas special in the coming months. So in the months that followed the original film and the resounding success of the original film, because obviously the original film was massive. The Star Wars crew began garnering a lot more popularity on the small screen by doing variety shows. So they would have the cast on, most notably, the Donnie and Marie show, which I know for us, we don't have that many. I guess our equivalent is like the Graham Norton show or something like that.
Yeah,
we have chat shows, they have variety shows like SNL. So we just don't really do them, do we? Much over here. But yeah, they had this big thing on the Donnie Marie show where they had Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, who was just so coked up the entire time.
Obviously.
Like I'm so excited for you to see how coked she is in the holiday special. Like I feel she needed to be. Rest her fucking soul, because she's an absolute not living legend. She's unfortunately
a legend.
A legend. But yeah, they even had the little robots on. They had like the stormtroopers on. They had the gay robots on from Star Wars.
Gay robots from Star Wars.
That very same year, CBS brought the idea of doing a holiday special to Lucas. Head of marketing Charles Lippincott, to which the response was a resounding, "Why are you laughing at this name so much? Why can't you get past the word Lippincott?" To which the response was a resounding, "Sure, why the fuck not?" Everyone agreed that a special was a good idea, which again,
really?
I think they were really popular.
Yeah, they were riding the high. Yeah. Had this have been a good episode, they were riding the TV high.
I guess when you've made the biggest film of the year last year, you've got one of two kind of mindsets. You're either, unbelievably precious about your intellectual property and will only approve projects associated with it that are of the high standards that you expect.
Oh, you capitalise, man.
Or dollar bills, you all sort of fucking
Lucas
print money,
literally
bitches.
in the the cartoons where they have like dollar signs just like lift up the character's eyes. It's that with just George Lucas's face. Cha-ching! It's just a hubris again, isn't it? It's
That
this
was
idea
a terrible analogy.
right, let me do it
Well,
again.
no.
Let me do it again.
That was it. You don't get it again.
In Tom and Jerry, when Tom sees money, I don't
It's
know.
got worse.
It's just somehow got
Why
worse.
do cats need money?
What's the cartoons where people see money? Like
Lots
what?
of them. It's
It's
just
like
a general.
Looney
Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Looney Tunes. Okay, so in
It's
Looney
not
Tunes,
important, Liam.
I am dying on this hill. Okay, moving on. So yeah, we just see it's hubris, isn't it? It's the idea of how can we fail? How can we possibly do this? It was so successful. How can this ever go wrong? And we saw it recently with something like Halloween Kills, which again was something that kind of brought back the series. You guys didn't see Halloween Kills, did you? It's a piece of shit. Lucas was really busy at the time. He was actually moving Lucasfilms to a new location. Obviously, the success had I think he was upsizing the studio at the time, but he was also working on the original script for Empire as well at the time. So I think the precedence was on making Empire as good as it could be. So Lucasfilm producer Gary Kurtz later went on record to say that the script actually was really good at the start. Apparently, the original idea for the script was really promising. We had half a dozen meetings with the TV company that was making it. And in the end, because of the work on promoting Star Wars and the work on the next film, we realized they just had no time. So it was a real rush job. It was a real... We often see films that are like projects of passion, like Troll 2 and Manos, that might be terrible. But at least there was some effort went in. This wasn't that. This was, shit, we agreed to do this, and now we're running out of time. Let's get it the fuck out.
Lucas's input was basically what you have to use Wookiees.
That was it. So yeah, Lucas would show up every now and again and say a few things. He would like oversee the project, but not actually contribute to the project.
So it's like, yeah, you have to use Wookiees and you have to do something else. I can't remember what the other big one was.
The plot had to centralize around Wookiees. The eventual director Steve Binder, apparently he said the only help he was given on sets from anyone involved in the original film was Lucas giving him a Wookiee dictionary or a Wookiee Bible, sorry.
Oh,
a Wookiee encyclopedia. And
Wookiee history,
Wikipedia,
Which is
basically.
actually the name of the Star
I know,
Wars
I love it.
Wikipedia.
I love it. That was his entire kind of help, and this was a
I'd
guy.
be pretty pissed off at that point. I'd be like, yeah, fuck it,
Yeah.
you know what? This is the movie you want. This is the movie you're going to get, and just throw it out.
Yeah, he said literally. So we just left them. He said they had occasional meetings with them. He provided them with access to props and actors, and that was it, apparently. So it's safe to say this wasn't the labour of love that New Hope was, and that most of the primary production was again being used for Empire at the time. Though Lucas remains uncredited, the idea to build the narrative around Chewbacca's family was squarely his. Subsequently, when experienced variety show writer Bruce Valanche, who you'll probably recognise,
I know
that
name.
a lot of us remember that name. He's been in quite a few Drag Race episodes, but he was a big comedy writer in the 70s. He did a lot of the variety shows again, so he was like really big on Donnie Marie and SNL, things like that. He expressed a lot of concern. He kind of went to Lucas and said, so do we think it's a great idea making a 90-minute feature film about Wookiees where they don't speak English and they scream at the screen and you don't want to subtitle them either? And Lucas just said he would not budge. This was his vision. He's not budging on this. And Lucas is, I think he's like, I think, yeah, we should like space out the Wookiee noises because we're going to get a lot
I'm
of that.
dying to see it.
We're going to get there.
So long.
We're going to get, I'm sorry, I know you're
want
excited.
to watch the movie. I want to
know.
watch the movie.
It's never a secret that Lucas has always been a bit of a drama queen. Most auteurs are. But really, in
Oh,
what
it definitely seems like a drama.
in what universe, near or far, far away, would this ever be a good idea? Like, you get it? Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you guys. You'd be as big fans. Chewie, what's his appeal? Like, I love him. I do love him. But do you think his appeal is like in the small? Because he's never like predominantly a big character,
No,
right?
he's a side
he's a side character. He's
He's
a
a
And I
strong
don't-
silent type.
Yeah.
That's
It's a classic
exactly
That's how he works,
exactly. You've taken the words right out of my mouth. So like, you take a strong silent type and you blow it up for 90 minutes and then you make them all scream at us. Wookiee's not even the biggest offender. Wait until you guys see Itchy and what the fuck do they want to call it? It was
Itchy.
No, it's not Itchy and
Lumpy.
Mitchy. Lumpy.
Is that the name of a Wookiee?
So Lumpy is the granddad Wookiee and Itchy is the child Wookiee,
Oh,
Chewbacca's
yeah.
son.
I actually remember these puppets pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Hang on. Where did they get the names from? Itchy, Lumpy, and Chewbacca?
Right? Like, why did Lumpy
Yeah.
name, like, Chewbacca's quite a like a nice...
Han,
Chewbacca, yeah,
Ha.
fair enough.
There's
I guess
one beginning
Chewie.
with a Z in one of the games, and Dave,
Dave.
and Ricky.
But I guess unless Lumpy is short for something, because Chewbacca is short to Chewie,
Maybe,
so maybe...
lumpy like a tree. And
Oh.
itchy like from ivy. I don't know.
I feel like you're stretching here.
Maybe
bud.
are they all backers? Maybe it's like itch backer and lump backer. And it's just short.
No, maybe
That was worse.
maybe he's like Chewbacca.
You're all
These are like
back.
natural names.
No.
He chews
No,
back.
is that not it?
Or maybe this was
Lumpy.
the director being incredibly pissed off that no one would
He
help
had
him. And
an
went, fine,
encyclopedia.
you're fucking itchy, you're fucking lumpy,
The one
you're
thing he
fucking
should
scratchy,
do well is
let's
names.
The special went through 2 directors, actually. The first being David Acombe, but he was kind of quickly fell off the project because he felt a overwhelming sense of
Dread.
pretty much, yeah. It was this overwhelming sense that he wasn't experienced with multi-camera setups anyway, but he also felt that they just kind of left him there. The producer said, right, get on with it, and didn't give him any help. And again, remember, we're 1 film in at this point. The grand idea that Lucas has for this series is not kind of... It might be completely fermented in his head, but it's not for everyone else. And I think a lot of the directors, even the second director, so when they did eventually bring in Steve Binder, even he said the entire time, he corroborated all that experience and said, I was given no help on this thing, and that's why it came out as messy and as kind of garbled as it is. Weirdly enough, they do have a lot of really talented people working on this. Granddaddy of practical effects, Stan Winston, who you guys all know, did all the effects during the 80s and 90s. He did like Terminator, Jurassic Park. He did The Thing. My personal all-time favorite is practical effects is The Thing. He did all the...
There was a lot of talent on it. It's just no one...
No one knew what they were fucking doing.
This is why a director's important.
This is why someone, or a creative mind, Lucas, should have been there, really. It should have maybe taken a bit more time, I guess. So the special was broadcast in its entirety in the US only once.
Wasn't it? Isn't it 2 hours long?
It's an hour and a half.
Oh,
I
it
think,
said 2 hours when I Google it. I was sitting there going,
now I'm worried.
I'm feeling sleepy looking at that.
Now I'm worried.
Yeah.
It came out in 1978, the week before Thanksgiving, and aired on CBS from 8 p.m. until 10 p.m. All of the acts of the special loosely linked together with this material that involves the Wookiees preparing for Life Day and Han and Chewie trying to get back in time for Life Day. So there's the overriding
how long
narrative.
a year on Kashyyyk is? Just thinking about it.
I wondered about that.
Do they do it like? Is there a galactic?
Is there a calendar?
I wonder if there's like a galactic calendar where a year is a year everywhere in this galaxy, or whether it's
I wonder about
a
that.
year on Kashyyyk is however long it takes for one lap of the sun that they orbit.
To orbit,
So
yeah.
I think you'd have like they have an international year. Like
Gotta be, surely.
like English is a business language. You would
Like
just
Greenwich
pick
Mean Time.
Yeah, you pick a centralized time.
And you know it's going to be Earth because we just
Palpatine
colonized
time.
everything. Yeah, Palpatine time.
Palpatine time.
There are obviously the kind of, as you weave about this overarching narrative, there's musical numbers, there's animated segments. Don't you wait, my friend. There are musical numbers, there are animated segments, there's full-on just stand-up scenes. Like there are scenes that people are just doing stand-up comedy. But it actually managed to get a big guest cast as well. Like the cast they got in, again, especially for the time, they got stars like Jefferson Starship, which I wonder if they entirely did that because of the fact that they're called Jefferson Starship. Not because they're actually talented musicians. Diane Carroll, who actually is the one in the Wookiee porn scene that I'm really excited for you guys to see. I'm not going to explain this any further until we see it.
Okay.
Art Carney, Harvey Korman, who was, again, big in the Donnie Marie show. A lot of those kind of very, very big in the 70s specials. And our personal favourite, Ryan. My personal favourite, Golden Girl, as well.
Oh, fucking B. Arthur.
B. Arthur. Have you guys ever seen the Golden Girls? Because this is a very
Only
gay.
when you've
It's a
had
very
it
gay
on.
thing.
It's only when you've had it on and I've been round.
It's a rite
Thank
of
you
passage.
for being a friend.
It's a rite of passage in the gay
Golden
community.
Girls we watched together.
Well,
Yeah, we
because
watched
you're,
loads of it
you're
together.
like pretty much a gay man anyway, so it's a lot. Sorry, Jack.
Just visible confusion. How does that translate to an audio narrative?
But like the thing with B. Arthur, and especially the thing with Dorothy Spornak, the character she plays, is she's like this surly. Basically, she's like a drag
Really
queen in and of
surly.
herself, and she has this like really deep, gruff voice. Where can you do a Dorothy Spornak impersonation? Ma. She talks like that.
That wasn't bad.
That's kind of like that's the best I can do. I was going to try and think of a sentence, but I can't even attempt it. But they get her to sing because, of course, they do. You hire an actress who is known for sounding like she eats cigarettes, and you ask her to sing in your movie. We're very close to getting there, guys. I can see the visible excitement in Ryan's face. So let's get there. The Star Wars Holiday Special was universally lambasted by critics, audiences, and Star Wars fans alike. As you said, I think it's on 2.2 on IMDb. That 27 is generous on Rotten Tomatoes. Jerry Bruckheimer.
When I said lambasted, I just immediately thought of all the angry Tuscan Raiders just doing the...
A critic for the critic for the US Times called the program a bubblegum for the brain, and in what I think is the most genius stroke of criticism of all time, Nathan Rabin for AV Club called it. Nathan Rabin for the AV Club said that the special. Nathan Rabin of the AV Club said of the special that he was. I'm fucking this up. Do you want to have a go? I honestly think you should because I keep not doing this sentence right. And Nathan Rabin, in one of the greatest sentences I think has ever been put to paper, said, "Do you want to have a go? Do you want to have fucking hell?"
That was going to be a perfect.
That was going to be a perfect take as well.
So my favourite is Nathan Rabin.
The thing is, the worrying thing is, all of this is going to stay at the thing now because it's gone on long enough to be a joke. And Ryan does this. If we'd left it like 5 seconds ago, it would have been cut. But now it's in.
Liam comes with 6 pages of notes. I came with
They're double spaced, Jack, so they're only 3.
And I've said that multiple
and I just
times.
came with like 23 years of Star
experience.
Wars content and general exposure.
It means you were watching Star Wars at 4. Is that about right?
Funny thing about Nathan Rabin's comment, though.
Oh my god, Nathan Rabin. Anyway, Nathan Rabin said that. The thing is, it's a really funny line, and now it's not going to hit the... I'm not.
He described it as being written by a sentient bag of cocaine.
Thank you. No, I'm glad. I was not going to be able to get that out without actually breaking down, I think, so I'm glad you said
That's
that.
a fantastic.
I feel like your head just don't want to
sentence?
start. Like, oh, we're midway through a conversation now. How do I start and say the thing I want to say?
I'm already
I want
delirious.
someone to write a book about a sentient bag of cocaine.
Carrie Fisher would probably write it. The Star Wars
It was
holiday.
written by Carrie Fisher.
It
that's
was
what he means.
The Star Wars holiday special. It's going to be alright, guys. I don't know if any of us are truly ready for this, but you can join us, dear listener, because I believe that the entire thing is on YouTube. Because again,
I was just about to ask, where the hell are we watching this?
I-
What catacomb of the internet are we retrieving this from?
you know, if it ends up on YouTube, people don't give enough of a shit about the rights to just be like, I can't be asked to fight this fucking thing. Have it, YouTube. Fine. Let's go try and get
Fucking
Chewie.
sweet, I'm ready. Let's fucking go.
Let's try and get Chewie home for Life Day and hopefully hold on to our sanity along the way. We will see you very shortly. Bye bye. Stir, whip, 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 stir.
Beat,
Stir, whip, boop, beat, whip, stir, whip,
Stir,
beat,
stir, whip,
beat,
stir,
whip,
stir, stir, beat.
stir, beat, whip, stir. Beat, beat, stir, whip, beat. I suggest, in the spirit of the Star Wars Christmas special, we continue the rest of this episode, the second half of this episode, entirely in Wookiee. So from here on out, I don't want to hear any English. I just want to hear... From Ryan, that sounds like English. But also a bit of lumpy as well, which is just like... You're gonna have a nightmare.
From what
after
we
that.
experienced, a bunch of Wookiees just sounds like a swarm of killer bees.
Swarm of killer bees, yeah. But it's like, what... You had a good point, Hannah.
Did I?
Did she?
Once.
I want to, before we get into like actually talking about and breaking it down and discussing the scenes, just conceptually, why?
Yeah, I don't.
Just conceptually, why?
Who
Just
wrote that
why?
script?
Just why?
Like,
Why?
it honestly, it's like several different people who had absolutely no idea of anything. Just went, right, okay, so just think of something and write it down, and we'll just make a scene
Who
about
got
that.
who got through editing that and thought, yeah, this is suitable for distribution?
Well, clearly none of the directors particularly wanting to work on
no.
this. So I imagine it was just like, right, these
I
are the
still don't think that's an excuse. I do not think that's
I
an excuse
reckon.
to make a movie. Like an anthology movie
It's
is
not a
fine.
movie.
It's
It is a movie.
It's a Christmas
But it
special
is feature-
TV episode.
It is feature length though.
It's feature length, but Christmas specials on TV at that time had a structure, and I imagine directors just went, "What we need is this scene, this scene, this scene, this scene. Whack it in. I don't give a fuck.
What
I
do you
don't
mean
want
we
to
need
make
this?
Well,
scene?
right, before we-
George Lucas did not turn around and went, "I want an intergalactic cooking
No,
scene."
George Lucas did fuck all.
Yeah,
He said, I wanted about
So that
Wookiees.
still shouldn't come to
Okay,
anybody's brain.
okay.
It's a Christmas.
Collect
it's
yourselves.
a Christmas
Fuck all
special.
Christmas about
Collect
that.
yourselves.
Order!
But they used to do this where they would have a variety of different acts come on and do different things.
No, this is it. Does it? It follows,
that's
it follows a
fine.
Christmas recipe. It does it. But I think what Hannah's getting at, and she's totally valid in what she's doing. What she's
valid,
what she's
shit.
asking. What she's asking is, even if you'd seen, I think, because obviously New Hope was the only reference point here. Even if you'd seen New Hope, why was some of these scenes the way they were? Why was some of these concepts? Why was there a Wookiee porn wanking scene in a Christmas? You can't defend. Oh, it's a Christmas special. You can't defend a porn scene, a Wookiee wanking porn scene with an old Wookiee. You can't. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves,
Face, that was so uncomfortable.
I mean, I'm not a fan. I'm not like I would never condone wiping out a species.
I'm really tempted to make an exception.
But I think if we're gonna make an exception, I just feel really bad for Chewie because again, like you take an iconic character. So we've obviously all kind of came back from watching. Watching is watching the right word?
If you haven't watched
Suffering
it so
through.
far, don't.
Witnessing.
Witnessing.
Whilst,
That's probably the best way. Yeah.
Existing while it goes
Existing
on.
in the same space as this eldritch horror of a Christmas special. That's probably the best way to describe it. It is like it's what I expect. You know, did you guys see Bird Box?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how that just like absolutely melts people's brain, whatever creatures. That's what I imagine they see is just this film played to them, and then they just bleed from the eyeballs and die. But it's cursed. It's a cursed, coke-addled, slightly homoerotic nightmare
I can't.
of just noise and horror.
Right,
It's
let's take a step back and take this apart.
We'll
Piece by piece.
let's obviously we've got the framing device, which is getting Chewie home for Life Day. That's
Loose framing.
loose
device.
framing device, which we do get. Obviously, we start with Han and Chewie.
When you told me that,
Sorry.
I thought we were expecting a full story about Chewie trying to get home for Life Day.
We kind of are.
And it was going to be focused around those characters and his family. I wasn't expecting it in the way it was.
There was a so it started with then it went to some weird home scene where they were cooking. And you
Chewie's
think-
family.
Well, even before
yeah,
that,
back
we get a title crawl. We get an introduction because the first thing you said was they couldn't even afford the
Comic
font.
Sans.
Star Wars.
It is. It's like
One time we go to
lowercase
Galaxy 508.
lowercase Star Wars, lowercase s, lowercase w. But you're right. It's like even the decision to kind of use that introduction where they have all the actors or B. Arthur as some bitch or fucking introducing Lumpy and they do this thing where they like introduce all the actors and all the characters straight away, and yet even that's cursed because they're like looking directly at the screen and talking to you, but there's no words coming out of their mouths, so they're just mouthing these horrible like I don't know what they're saying.
Plus the horror of the actual costumes of some of them as well, like Lumpy and.
Okay, so let's get the family out of the way with. So who wants to? Does anyone want to describe the family to anyone?
Not really.
Go on, Jack. You're the resident Star Wars.
So, yeah,
We've ruined this for you
I'm
enough
going
already.
to talk about the props and the scenes.
Go for it.
The scene setting.
Go for it.
So we cut to the interior of what looks like every house in America in the 1970s.
Yeah.
I literally it's just so jarring compared to everything else we've
Yeah.
seen from Star Wars ever. And they're just like the set design and the prop design and things are just so fucking dull and dreary. Everyone's got like it's literally just like every suburban house in America in the 70s.
Earth doesn't even exist in this galaxy.
No, but they have speaker systems that look like right
Yeah,
off
they
the
were just
shelf.
like speakers, like you'd find in a conventional house. I'm like, yeah, that's definitely sci-fi. But yeah, then we see the mum who is probably the best of the Wookiees in terms of like
She's the
actual
least scary,
costume
yeah.
design. The kid who it looks like a Furby, but not as convincing.
Yeah, it looks like you leave the Furby out in the sun too long, and it's
Cousin-ish.
And then the granddad who it looks
Furby.
like
Itchy.
a rabid yeti.
Who's named Itchy? And a scene later
looks
on,
itchy.
he looks a bit itchy.
He's itchy because he's got crabs.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's itchy from all the crabs.
He's a
everywhere.
sex pest as well. We'll get to that, but he is a sex pest.
Has an
Who should
orgasm in the middle of the
Probably
living
be on Christmas.
There was a weird sexual tinge throughout like the entire thing, like the last.
Well, no,
Yeah.
even like it's going. You say the last one, but
Han
even,
and Chewie were definitely
even
going
the
to get it
first
on.
one, even though it's all segmented. You're right. It's all this weird framing device where Chewie's trying to get home, but in the meantime, we're going to watch videos of other people who are also having an Earth Day, a Life Day, and other adventures that are going on at the same time or at different times, or just random shit that they want to throw in. But the first one, you're right. The first one is. Well, first of all, we spend about 9 minutes with these characters and 9 minutes with just the Wookiee characters
Non-verbal.
screaming at each other for about 9 minutes. It's not even an exaggeration. And you're right, Ryan. It sounds like an angry swarm of bees. It's just like
Awful.
it gets to the point where it's almost like bordering on delirium again, like that eldritch horror feeling of I don't know how much longer I can actually
That's
suffer
not even the
through
worst
this.
noise. There's constantly really loud beeps and squawks and squeals and alarms.
It's lumpy for me. It's every time lumpy goes. And my soul lifts out of my body for a little bit. And yeah, so the first kind of mini segment, I guess, is Lumpy getting this weird Cirque du Soleil homoerotic video phone thing. And again, it's this weird fever dream of like acid visuals and this like
There's a little holograph and people are dancing and doing gymnastics on the little board.
and then that little holograph then becomes human size and does
He's a
little
big holograph. And he's instructing the
There's
little
no-
holograph.
There's no explanation to it. As resident Star Wars people, is this explained in the universe? Is this something that you could imagine?
Is this the holograph or the VR?
The holograph,
I
the
thought
VR,
the
yeah.
holograph was going to be the game.
That's what you said. You said straight away.
I was
You
like,
thought,
oh,
yeah.
is
Or
it?
something,
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's going to be that. And then obviously just weird human Cirque du Soleil characters.
Because it is that board. I guess that board is a holograph, so you could technically change it to project something else.
I mean, that's not, to be fair, this scene isn't what I have my issue with, especially with what
Really?
Ryan was
You
saying,
didn't have an
where
issue
You
with
didn't
this.
have. You liked Hannah. Right, you heard it here, guys. Hannah liked the Cirque du Soleil gay holograph scene.
no, but like if you're gonna go with this sort of almost what's it called, like thingy show, talent show,
Oh yeah, variety show.
thing,
Variety show.
variety show, then yeah, you've got a bit of dancing, you've got some singing. It's not the worst thing in there. At least it's a dance. It's not offensive.
But
I'm
the
not
framing
that
was bad,
confused.
though.
I was
I'm a
kind of
little
offended.
bit confused.
They were partial holograms,
Oh,
and you couldn't
it
see
was
them
all a level
properly,
of
and then
shit,
they were
Ryan, but it was like
miniaturized.
the creme de la shit.
Please start with creme de la shit. Please start with creme de la shit.
The
When
creme de la-
Like it's all a level of shit, but it's like the Kremlin de shit. Kremlin de shit.
Right, but you practice that so much. I want to reference this for the audience. So we had a break because the dog had to get a drink of water. So we were like, right, Hannah, you can start from creme de la shit. And we kept repeating the words creme de la shit. And then when she comes back on to say the words creme de la shit, she says creme de... What did you say? Creme shit de la creme.
Shit de la
Creme de la
creme.
shit.
Shit de la creme. What was the shit de la creme, Hannah?
The Cirque du Soleil one, that like that one, and the singing one at the end. And there's a couple that, fair enough, if it's a talenty show type thing, then you can pop it in there. But there's what the fuck with some of them, like what?
Well, I was just happy.
Stir, whip,
Whip, stir. I was just happy to be away from the Wookiees at this point, though. Like, there was that moment of relief where you're like, right, at least
I
I'm
thought
away
that
from the
would
screaming.
be, and it was equally. It's like being stabbed in the foot to being stabbed in the hand.
But yeah, you're right. That scene moves back to the Wookiees, and then we have the scene where one of two scenes where we just have a character reading out the terms and conditions of like an itemized like list of things in his shop.
Weirdly, is
There's like full
shopkeeper.
minute scenes. No, this is before the cooking one. There's like full minute scenes of people just reading out the instruction manual for like how things work in this universe.
That's
Second
a
one,
grooming
it was
tool.
kind of
That's what it
weird.
was.
Yeah, he got the grooming tool, and then he was fucking about with it. And went, bleep blop, I'm a bit fucked.
I think
Yeah.
it's
Stuck
just
it under his chin.
No,
and sucked
this
his
was
face
way
in
after
it.
that. This was way before that.
Yeah, I think the really unsettling thing as well is just like it just assumes this level of consumerism
Yeah.
and like this. Yes, these Wookiees who are these big, peaceful, simple forest-dwelling
They live in
folk
tree
who,
houses.
who live in tree houses, subscribe to the American model of capitalism.
It may as
You know,
well have
it's
like,
just like
And have several TVs in
yeah,
their
because of
room.
course you do,
Yeah.
because every household should.
they may as well
Buy
have,
more
like,
things.
flashing like
The economy needs you.
It is capitalism, and I think it almost like ushered in that era because obviously Star Wars was obviously very known. Lucasfilm in general was known for like being heavily into marketing toys and stuff, but it's really
Because
egregious
George
here.
Lucas, one of the things he got was basically he got
He got the royalties,
all
didn't
of
he?
the
Yeah.
royalties to all of the toys.
Not
and
for
all
this
of the
fucking thing, I
merchandise.
can't imagine. I wonder if
So
there are any toys
That
for
was
the
one
Christmas
of the things
special.
he got, and that's why he's so fucking
Jesus,
filthy
Wookie.
rich.
Guys, I want to know if there are on eBay any Star Wars Christmas special specific toys. Like, they probably will as well. That'll be
Probably.
that'll be niche stuff.
I don't want them in my house.
I mean that that brings us to the Julia Childs segment. The hate crime TV chef who simultaneously looks like
weird.
she's doing blackface, but also is just kind of this like really, really stereotypical drag queen character.
Yeah.
Which weirdly enough was also played by Harvey Korman, the guy who played like the salesman, played that character as well, and a character at the end. So he like does 3 roles in this, which I did say at one point, Harvey Korman feels like he's putting the most effort in. Like he feels like
He definitely was.
he definitely is trying so much harder than the rest of them, and I do feel a little bit bad for the guy because I'm like, you think you're in something else, don't you?
He had a big role, unlike the rest. You had Luke in and Leia and everyone else.
Yeah.
And they were just like, they got a video phone call. And it was just to say, have you seen Chewie? And they were all in different ways. No, we haven't seen
Speaking
Chewie.
of Leia.
Oh, fuck, I have to go.
Speaking-
And who can blame them? I wouldn't want to stay on the
Speaking
phone.
of Leia, can we talk about how coked up Carrie Fisher was this entire time?
She could barely walk straight in that
She could barely
first.
close her
Literally, she
fucking
had to
mouth.
slide like around the desk. She like just slithered
Her mouth is
through.
never shut. She was just gawping the entire time.
And I just feel again, Jack's just offed himself.
And my
Remember,
suffering.
Jack, this is canon.
Oh, but yeah, I do
Saying
like saying this is
That's
canon to
brilliant.
Jack. Everything that happens is canon. There are Wookiee porn VR stations. We'll get to that because that's kind of the next bit. So the salesman shows
Chewie's a
up.
capitalist.
They were all waiting for Chewie. They're all Chewie's a capitalist. They're all kind of waiting for Chewie to get home. They're all worried about Chewie not being home for Life Day. Our salesman shows up at because apparently he's a friend of the family. They kind of make a reference to him knowing.
He's a fellow rebel.
He's a fellow rebel, yeah. He shows up with some presents. He gives the kid Lego, which fair enough, you know.
No, we thought it was Lego, but it wasn't.
Was it not?
That
Oh, it was the transmitter. Yeah, it was transmitter.
That's what you buy a child for Christmas.
Well, I also thought you gave them
An
a sewing
SOS
machine
kit in case your family gets taken hostage. Which, to be fair, they did.
You know what? It came in handy.
Yeah.
It gives the mum a boombox, which we'll get to. We're not getting there just yet. We're going to go through this bit by bit.
We're not. We're jumping.
No, this is in order. I wrote these down. What did you get the granddad, Ryan? What did the granddad get for Christmas?
An Oculus Quest.
Yeah.
Oculus.
Who was so?
Wait, I'm trying to think of a porn pun for
It was
Oculus
a VR
Quest.
program, and he plugged himself in, but it was like heavily implied that it was porn, like sexy. in
Oculus
nature.
chest.
Maybe that.
No.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Wow. He starts
Oculus
watching
breast.
it.
Jesus Christ.
Oculus breast. There you go.
You can have Coculus.
Coculus breast.
Coculus Rift.
Oh, that, yeah.
Quest.
Porn
Yeah,
VR.
it's just like a lady being like really sensual. I think you're adorable, and he keeps skipping back to that.
I
and
know
you see
what
his,
you want.
he has like a massive underbite. You see his little mouth.
Yeah. Itchy already looks like a melted wax candle, like of milk for her. And he's just like, he's just making
face.
these really disturbing orgasm faces while he's watching. And that is, I'm going to get the name wrong. Who's the singer? I told you.
don't know. I don't know if it-
Hararg. And that poor Diane Carroll, who was the singer actress who was the one they tricked into doing the porn scene, I guess, because I don't know why
Yeah.
anyone would sign up for that.
I mean, it's not like you could see any of the effects or anything like that. They were just like, oh, we need you to sing a song. Here you go. Here's your script.
Yeah. Well, just talking about the stars as well, the actual big stars in it. Luke.
Hang on.
Oh,
Before
sorry.
we leave
Sorry.
that
Oh, we're
one
not
scene,
leaving. We're not leaving that scene.
Have we clarified that he was sat watching this in the middle of the
Oh, in the
living
middle
room
of the-
in the middle of the day
On
Little
Christmas.
on Christmas Day?
The shopkeeper was on his way out. She's giving everyone his
The
presents.
shopkeeper was in the kitchen with the mum.
Yeah, he was still there,
and he
right?
was just
Oh,
chilling
he's
in
still
the living
there.
room.
Yeah, he was
this
like,
is
oh,
a-
enjoy, and he walked away and just left him to it.
That's
in
like-
the middle of the
Just
room.
to make everyone aware as well, the kitchen and the living room aren't separate rooms. It's just one large room.
It's open
All
plan.
I'm
the
It's
saying
open
is,
plan.
right, you
Watching some
smug
porn.
liberals assume that you know Wookiee culture and Wookiee traditions. You don't know how they operate. That could be a time and tested tradition that the granddad jacks off. That could be a centuries-old tradition.
It's time for the wank around the Life Day tree.
Teach the youngsters how to do it.
But it is. It's the equivalent of buying your granddad a Playboy magazine and then him just whipping his cock out over Christmas dinner or something. It's just, it's so fucking disturbing.
I mean, if you want to make people celibate, that's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it. It put me off for a little bit. Can we just talk about Mark Hamill's makeup as well for a little bit? The
They
drag-esque,
toned it
like...
down at the end.
They did. I think they must have realised. The first time we meet Luke, he's wearing, like, full face, like, fucking quick, like, first time in drag.
Paying for the back of the room.
This is it. He looks like he's about to do a fucking musical number. I don't know whether or not, because I know for a fact that TV lighting and movie lighting are like drastically different. So I wonder whether or not the cameras, and again, inexperienced production crew and inexperienced director. So we kind of, weirdly enough, we kind of go through each present, don't we? We do like a segment with the wank machine, the Oculus breast, or the Coculus breast. We do a segment with the boombox, which is just Jefferson Starship singing for about 20 minutes.
Yeah, man. The Imperials break in. The shopkeeper's like, I just got this present. I think you'll like it.
Here, watch this
I know,
music
none
video.
of us like this.
That was
They acted
maybe...
really suspicious about that at first as well, didn't they? They were
Yeah.
like, oh no, and then he just put that
I
on.
thought it was going to be a bomb or something.
It's like, I need to
That had
turn it
no
on.
place in that at all.
It's literally just Jefferson
It was
Starship.
the most out of place feeling segment in the entire thing.
Yeah.
Really?
Really?
I kind of agree with Jack on
It's
this.
hard, I think it's hard to pick a winner.
I kind of agree with that
Actually-
one was the one that felt like I just wanted to end more than...
It's like you'd
'Cause it
switched
wasn't
on to like
even
MTV,
Oh,
I
no,
suppose,
it felt like
wasn't
it
it?
took
It was,
forever.
yeah, it was a bit odd.
Because the thing is, there's no humour in any of that. It's just a music
I
video.
don't
So
think
you
it's any
can't...
weirder than the Cirque du Soleil thing, though. That was equally on a
No, but you
holographic
can-
board, and they were like, oh, we got you something for Christmas. Press play. You think it's going to be a game?
No, but at least that was a little
Gay
bit...
men dancing.
At least that was a little bit fevery. At least that was a little bit like, oh, this is so disorienting that I can kind of have fun with it and laugh at it. Whereas you can't laugh at the Jefferson Starship one because it's just a music
It
video.
didn't end, it just
Yeah.
kept going.
A
and
never-ending
going and
music
going.
video. It just feel like you wonder how many drugs were on set. It's like the fucking production design was like, how many drugs do we need? And the answer was just yes, we need
Yes.
all of the drugs.
Yes, many.
Because you can't physically, feasibly see something like that and think that's an appropriate thing to put on television.
Nah.
Surely.
Nah.
Like, you know kids are going to watch this, and I don't know if I would write letters if I was a parent and I was like watching.
There's no way kids understand.
I
It's
still
not like anyone was naked or anything like that. It was a lady in a costume. She was just being really sensual.
Yeah, but it was all. But even the words, the dialogue was like, I know what you like. Like you like. I know that you like me
And it
because
was the cutting back
I
to the
have your
granddad's
brain.
face
Yeah.
and moans. friends. Like,
Yeah.
But even like and I wonder because I know a lot of like kids TV, and I know a lot of like family TV tries to do like
the
subtle
innuendo.
humor, the innuendo. It didn't feel like that. It felt like
No, it just felt
Innuendo.
filthy. I felt dirty.
So we eventually moved to the kids toy, which is an animated segment, which I remember in my head being the best part. It probably is quote unquote the best part.
the best part's at the
There's
end.
no best parts, really.
Best parts don't exist in this kind of movie. And it's this weird kind of story with Boba Fett, which you were saying canonically would technically be the first
Boba
introduction
Fett
to
was
Boba
first
Fett.
in Empire Strikes Back
Yeah.
in the film. So yeah, that was the first time you get to see.
We get an
Boba Fett on
origin story in
big
this
screen, I
bastard.
guess.
On a jelly planet.
On a jelly planet with weird Loch Ness monster creatures. And just
And yeah, that had some succinctness to it.
Yeah.
It felt like a little coherent, wrapped up story until Boba Fett basically had them dead to right, and the whole point was to bring in the rebels or kill them, capture or kill them. Or
we don't really know.
And then just fucked off.
Right,
He just was like,
bye.
Because
Boba Fett out. Just like jetpacks away.
yeah, it's just baffling again. Like you're right. Even the most coherent segment of the production is still just baffling and poorly animated. Really poorly animated. You have these scenes where you look at the way they animated Luke Skywalker, for example, and he just looks like a meth head with
Oh
no
my God,
pupils.
yeah.
And then like
They got
somehow.
the pupils in all of the characters. That was a choice.
Han Solo's like
They all
Mick Jagger
look slightly
looking.
dead.
Han Solo looks like you said.
Huge jaw, eyes. He doesn't have any eyes. They're just lines.
I love how they drew. They also
Squinting.
still drew Carrie Fisher to look like she was on cocaine. I just want to see the outtakes.
That was
Space
accurate
distance.
representation.
Of Carrie Fisher's animated characters doing a line of coke off C-3PO's dick. Who they up the gay so much in C-3PO as well. Like he's already the most flamboyant character in sci-fi history, and yet they make him
He's
twice as gay,
literally running
mincing from scene to scene. And then Luke's just an absolute bastard to him. There's like moments where he's like Luke, they crash the fucking they crash the fucking space pod on this jelly planet, and C-3PO is like, Luke, are you okay? And then Luke just gets up and is like, is R2-D2 okay? Like, doesn't give a shit about C-3PO.
Quiet you.
Literally treats him like his little bitch boy. And yet, weirdly, you're right, that was the most coherent moment. And then we move from that back into kind of the Wookiee family for quite a long time, actually, because there's this big drama about the stormtroopers who are coming in trying to find Han and Chewie.
He's looking for rebels.
They're just looking for the rebels. I'm kind of forgetting where we moved to from this. Like, I think my brain's short-circuited at
Isn't
this
that
point.
then the
know,
bar
tell me about it.
scene?
I go,
Yeah,
That
there
was
was-
all-
Oh, no,
my
this
God.
was the circuit breaker scene, the one with the robot just fucking freaking out for no
Yeah.
reason.
Oh yeah.
Your
It was
favorite
like,
scene.
bup, bup, bup.
No, but I counted it. It was 7 minutes of an instruction manual on how to do this to create this
It was creepy.
this like
It
jamming
was.
thing that the kid got, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the robot doing the instructions was broken.
And it didn't even look like a robot. It looked like an
It looked
actual
like a person.
person.
And
There
it
was
got
no
real
need to.
creepy, real
Actually, that's a
fast.
good question. Android-wise, in the Star Wars universe, do any of the androids look like people, or is that not a
Typically,
thing?
no.
No.
Yeah, I didn't remember them being like that.
Like, obviously, they're pretty good with synthetics. Like, Luke's like fake hand looks exactly like a real hand
Yeah.
and things like that. But not that I'm aware of.
It's feasible,
like, having
though.
like human looking androids.
To be
I don't think
fair,
it's something they do typically.
How often do they watch TV in the Star Wars movies?
Well, according to this film,
I mean,
every
the-
fucking second of every day.
They have a TV everywhere.
A normal robot wouldn't need to be dressed up like a human, but if you present it on TV, you might want to be like, yeah, let's skin it up a little
Maybe.
bit, make it more
Why is
like.
it human?
Well, it shouldn't be because that's if you know humans are like. You know what we're like as a species.
We're the worst.
It was literally at one point.
We created this.
He sort of, at one point he sort of like melted onto the table, so his like nose was what was holding
Yep.
him up, and he just sort of used his finger to push his face and just slide it off the end of what?
Do you remember that guy
Just
from?
have Roman's head going.
Was he charging
Respond
himself?
to.
Do you remember that weird creature, the weird statue from Art Attack? Was it Art Attack or was
Yeah,
it
I remember
the other
Art
one?
Statue.
Kind of reminded me of that a bit, like this weird, like square-headed creature
The
that
clay
was
guy.
Clay
Yeah.
guy. That used to scare me as a kid. I used to have nightmares about this.
Oh,
My mum,
I
my mum used to not let me watch it because I used to have nightmares about it.
Wasn't
like,
that bad?
fully was banned from watching Art Attack because I wasn't allowed. But my mum was like, I think I went to bed a few times actually because of that.
It was creepy as shit.
And then somehow we get to the B. Arthur, it's Tatooine, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
which
It's
is the
cantina.
cantina,
Yeah, it's
the
the-
cantina scene, which we finally get lyrics for that famous cantina song.
Finally get some smooth jizz.
It's not the end, friends.
It's not good night, friend.
Hannah loved it. Hannah was
great.
here for it. And to her credit, B. Arthur, as much as she's in this absolute travesty, this train wreck, this shit show, she's kind of
She does
fun.
her best.
She's kind of fun.
She's a bit sassy, a bit surly.
She's just
got a
Dorothy.
few
She's
jokes.
just
She says Dorothy
Dorothy
Spalding.
don't I? In space.
Space.
They started the scene off very creepily, though. Like,
Oh my god.
It was like the creepiest way to because.
wasn't even
I'm gonna do
relevant.
this in like
No,
an
do it.
injustice. As
Do it.
somebody else do it.
So a guy comes into the bar, and after she serves a few drinks, he's like, "I came here looking for you specifically." She's like, "I have no idea who you are, but would you like a drink?" It's like, "Oh yes, I'll take that one, please. You're so special. I wanted to come
Are you
see
going to
you."
gloss over the fact that he has just a gaping hole in his head? He pours
Yeah,
it
yeah,
into
he
it.
gets the
We're
drink.
building, Jack.
He gets the drink, grabs it, and he's got a big hole in his head. It's like a small volcano opening.
It's
he
like-
just pours it into.
What I said to Hannah, I turned to Hannah and said, just when you think you've seen the stupidest thing you've ever seen in your
Man
life.
takes a drink.
How
through
does he
his
take a
head.
shower?
Oh my god.
The shower cap.
Whoa.
Oh,
Oh,
Just
he's
like a very
incredibly
human
nations,
hydrated.
yes.
He has a little plug he puts in there.
It's
But
It
yeah,
just keeps
it's really fucking dumb.
It's
And
out-stupiding itself at every
it's
turn.
completely out of context of anything. She then, it looks like a secret as well, because she turns around, he quickly throws the drink in his head. Then he confesses her love, gives her a flower when she gets back, and she's like, "Okay, what the fuck ever? Like, if I give you the wrong impression, I definitely didn't mean to. Let me give you another drink," and then pours it directly in his head.
Well,
It's like, I thought this was a secret a second ago.
Weirdly enough, that's how it starts, and it does transition into something that I would probably argue is at least mildly entertaining. Like again, if we're talking about like, I kind of got the most entertainment out of watching
It's like
Dorothy
some
Swanwick
sort of
sing.
Oliver Twist cheers kind of thing.
Yeah,
Apart from they're all dickheads. The Imperials are like, "Right, we're on lockdown." And B. Arthur's like, "Right, everybody, you need to get out of my pub now. We need to go home." And they're all like, "Fuck you." She's going around being like, "But we're friends. I did this for you. I did that for you." And all of them just ignore it. They're all like, "Fuck off." It's just to sing an entire musical number
Just
to
to
get them out the door.
Well, this
Form
is
a
it.
conga
They're
line.
the fucking Pied Piper of like scum and villainy.
just this is a kind of an enlightening moment for me as well, because I was fully convinced each of these creatures, because I always wonder about this with Star Wars. They have, I think, of all of the sci-fi.
This is my favorite.
The
thing
sci-fi
about
like
Star Wars.
series, I think it has the most variety in its like
Most of the
creature
time,
design.
they just do a
I don't.
humanoid with a weird
Well,
face.
that's Star Trek as well, isn't it? Like
That's
Star Trek
exactly
does that as
Star
well.
Trek. Yeah,
where they
but
just
all
like
humanoids, just slightly.
What
Put a
about-
lump here, put an odd tooth there.
Well,
yeah.
Some gills on the
you
face.
said to me how you was like, that one's just a zombie. That one's just dressed like a zombie. Like that, just it's Halloween costumes, and I was really taken aback when you were like, "Oh no, I know that." Like, you were literally listing them, and I was like, "Excuse me, what? How?" Weirdly enough, it's
Well, it's
the
nice,
least
yeah, that
worst.
they really go out of the way to try hard on the alien designs. It's not just two-legged
Some of them,
bipedal.
some of them they do, and some of them they don't.
some of them they do.
Some of them are just that guy has horns on his head. That guy is a rat.
a big mouse.
That's a mouse.
I enjoyed the big mouse.
But I think of all of the scenes, if you're gonna subject, which I don't recommend. I'm that guy, and you know how obsessed and wanky I get over bad films, and I try and sit here and convince you Howard the Duck's a genuinely good film and Showgirls is an underrated masterpiece. This isn't that moment. I'm not going to be that guy.
I cannot undersell this enough.
However,
I want to not speak about this or talk about this or see this ever again.
it's canon.
We've done so much more justice.
saying
than
that.
deserves.
However,
However,
I'm glad I watched it because
I'm not.
it's
I'm glad I have, because now I know that I'd never want to see it because I was excited.
Well, I think it's fascinating. I think it is fascinating how much something can go wrong, and how much, like, when the creator when a studio is so adamant to get something out and so adamant to do
The bigger
to
the
cash in,
Jesus,
isn't it?
too big
Yeah,
to fail.
this is it. It's exactly the hubris moment
Yeah,
again.
that's-
You okay?
Totally missed the end.
We're getting to the end. Don't worry. We are going before we get there. So yeah, we wrap up this last bit. We get back to the Wookiees. Chewie and Han Solo come
kid
back.
gets caught.
The kid
on
gets
his little
caught.
transmitter by the stormtrooper that
Yeah.
stayed behind, and he starts.
Stormtrooper kills himself because he can't handle being around the Wookiees any longer.
They were true to form.
Chewie and Han show up just as this kid's about to get shot, and like Chewie's got his hands up, Han comes in, does fuck all, stormtrooper.
Just throws himself off a balcony.
I think he trips on his gun.
Nah,
No, it's like some pieces of wood and he just...
he was the
It's
only.
his gun. He went to pick his gun up. It was on the floor 'cause it got knocked out of his hands. He went to pick it up, stepped towards, but instead of bending down, he tripped.
He was the only
He went
realistic.
flying over and off the balcony.
He was
Shoddy
literally
Wookiee craftsmanship.
the only realistic character because he was the one who couldn't stand being around the Wookiees and had to just end his life.
Yeah,
Like, I
he did.
totally get it. I feel for him.
True stormtrooper fashion.
We kind of end with Han kind of saying goodbye and leaving the Wookiee. The Wookiee there, Chewie has like this
Sad that I
weird.
can't have one more solid affair with Chewie before he leaves.
Right, there's this weird little homoerotic tension moment between Chewie and Han where Han like grabs Chewie's throat in this oddly sexual way. Like, yeah, choke me, daddy. Then they had this weird little reunion where the mother and Chewie get far too intimate in front of the grandfather and the child. And then they all
Grandad's like pinning the child down as well. You will watch.
and then they all walk into the sun. They all like do this weird light dance, walk into the sun.
It's big
After
purple
they've changed
sun.
into big red
After they
robes.
change into the robes.
Santa robes.
Yeah, Santa robes. As if it's some kind of death cult. As if this is some kind of fucking Children of the Sun kind of
This did
suicide
me in,
cult.
though. After that, I was like, right, we're done. Roll credits. They're all dead. Universe is over.
We like faded out.
They came back,
keeps
and they were
going.
all there in one horrible hellish hellscape.
There's about 30
just
of them.
rocks.
We get one last scene of Carrie Fisher being coked out of her mind singing a Christmas
away.
carol.
She was ever so slightly coked. I choose to believe that's because she had to sing to have some form of professionalism.
And then the credits roll on this the maybe the hardest. Is this the hardest film we've sat through? No. Is this?
Nah.
It's not Airbed. Right. It's not. This is why
It's
I
not
always,
after that season.
This is what
Well,
I
We've not
say.
done that on
I
here yet.
really struggled. I really struggled
Yeah, I
to get
did
through
struggle.
Can I
it.
also
with
just
this
comment?
one.
Like, I sat through this. I didn't sit through Rise of Skywalker. I gave up with Rise of Skywalker. I sat
But-
through this because this may
Yeah,
be
there's
like
no point in
no,
that
because
either.
there's like higher stakes there and there's less. I don't want to say less effort because there's no effort in this either. But like, you expect more from that budget versus this was on $1 million, which isn't amazing. I mean, maybe adjusted for inflation. I don't know. There's something weirdly
If
kitschy
we
about how bad
weren't
this is.
doing an episode on it, I wouldn't have sat through it.
No, that's fair.
Christ, no.
Like,
See,
the
this
channel
is-
would have been changed in the first
second.
9-minute segment.
It's the second time I've
Would have
sat through
just
this.
been Wookiees. I would have been gone.
This is my
I
second
feel like
fucking
it would have
viewing.
been the Cirque du Soleil, and at that point, I'd have been a bit confused and be
No,
like, nah,
you wouldn't give up with
leave.
the Cirque du Soleil.
I feel like had I just stumbled across it, oh, this is a new Star Wars, I'd have definitely turned
I'd say
it off.
well done for getting that far.
I would like to
I should have showed
actually
you this
know the
first.
difference in the ratings as it went through.
I did look to see if I could get the TV ratings up, like how many people were watching, but I couldn't find anything. They've just deleted that from history. They don't want to remind us of that. I do, however, want to stick to form and see if we can come up with the best scene.
No, I don't.
I would say it's right. Let's do recommendations first. This is going to be a no from me.
No.
I think unless you're a fucking idiot like I am,
I,
you know who you are.
I can't undersell it enough.
I'm only going to recommend this to George at Tipsy Flicks and me. That's it. They're the only two people who would enjoy this because we're idiots.
It's terrible. It's
The-
awful.
what do we think?
Ghastly.
Go on,
It's
give
every
like-
bad word I
Yeah.
can think of. It's so mishmash, badly put together. No plot, no good narrative. Characters that don't speak. All of the acts that they got in were pretty much terrible. B. Arthur's scene was all right, and that Harvey or Henry guy,
Harvey
Harvey whatever,
Yeah,
did
that
an
one.
all right job.
Harvey Korman. I want to give him some credit.
Everything else was just a horrible decision, a horrible mistake that they should never have done.
7 out of 10.
We'll watch again.
Too much water.
I loved it. I don't have a favourite scene. If I had to have one,
No,
it would
you
be
have
B.
to.
Arthur.
If you had one for Last Airbender, you have to for this.
I would say B. Arthur.
Okay, that's
He
fine.
was-
I think this is better than Last Airbender. I think this is
I thought it
better
sounds
than
quite charming.
Oh, this is better than Last Airbender.
because again, like, but it's that weird thing where like at
but
least
Last
this didn't.
Airbender is offensive.
Offensive.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas this doesn't really border on.
Nonsensical.
Yeah, it's more of just you're right. It's a fever dream. It's an hour and a half long fever dream. Hannah and Jack, final thoughts. That's fair.
I think my favourite moment in this.
Was the end. Was before I was watching it. Stir, whip, stir, whip, whip,
That's all I
whip,
can hear in my
stir.
head.
Stir, whip,
That's
stir.
it.
Like an
isn't
internal
it?
monologue, I'm just getting stirred. No, I think the Android bit, which was really freaky and kind of
yeah,
came out
okay.
of nowhere, where it was like, the instruction manual bit, which was 7 minutes long, too long a bit, and it was just him like prodding himself and like having a meltdown, and it was
So
like really kind of, like freaky, creepy horror
Yeah.
vibes from it, you know?
Children should not be watching that.
I think that physically hurt Jack's soul, giving a favourite bit to a film that just decimated his favourite franchise.
Not my.
One
Okay,
off.
one
One
off.
off.
One off.
It's not Lord of the
Just
Rings.
wait until
Yeah,
the
okay,
Lord of the
fair
Rings Christmas special that we're going to cover.
Oh, well, no, the Amazon.
I want to
will
see
do
the
that for
Russian
us,
one.
probably.
No, the
Oh,
Rush- to be fair-
suka bled Frodo.
we should take a leaf out of the Warm
For
Tins
Frodo, we must
film
take
club.
our ring.
and
But
do the
we'll
Rush one
watch
at
it
some
with
point.
subtitles.
Oh, Tom, I love you, but you're an idiot. Hannah?
I mean, it's a 90-minute migraine in it, but like,
in it.
90, I wish.
was it more
mean,
than 90
1
minutes?
hour, 37 minutes.
97 minutes.
But if you
of migraine.
if you counted every time you rewound it, then it was probably longer. To be honest.
Someone
It's my
kept sitting on the
unconscious brain
remote.
trying to just like remove it from existence. But no, I would say the end bar singing scene was a highlight for me. But I don't know if that's because it just broke us down so much, and that was at the end, and it was just a little bit of levity, and we were
I think
like,
B. Arthur gave an alright performance considering what she was in.
Yeah, she was fantastic. I loved her. Well, maybe fantastic's a bit of a...
It made me want to watch Golden Girls a bit.
Yeah, even though she can't sing, it was fun, it was merry.
She gave it her best.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it.
Fair enough.
Though she did just succumb to the stalker at the end, which is a bit weird.
I don't like how it faded to black after that.
Nah.
Like, she'd like locked herself in a bar with this guy who was kind of rapey.
Well, she
so I
didn't mean to,
really
did she? She
appreciate
said
that,
goodbye
yeah.
to absolutely everyone, including her lurcher friend. Then
Oh, I
scene
liked
closed,
him.
she turned around and he's just behind the bar, like
She's now
staring at her with
dead.
his little creepy hole in his head. Like,
Dark. Yeah.
Dead.
Anybody got anything else we want to cover
I
on
really
this?
don't.
Okay. No one asked me my favourite scene, but it's cool.
What?
go on then.
Go on.
Itchy wanking. Itchy
No,
wanking.
No, that's
I'm trying to forget that happened.
Itchy wanking.
I'm done.
That's how I want to end the episode. I want to end the episode on the words itchy wanking.
Right.
Because just as a sentence, like, what is that? Like, if you watch a Star Wars film and what I
Itchy
came away with was
wanking.
itchy wanking and stir whip.
Itchy
No.
orgasm.
Cut the outro music. Don't have that. Just have Liam going.
Itchy wanking.
And then have it like echo and fade. Like
Itchy wanking. Itchy wanking.
Like, have it like yeah. And that's how the episode will end.
Thank you so
Goodbye
much.
forever.
Thank you so much, guys, for putting yourself through this ordeal with me. I couldn't do it. Couldn't have done it by myself.
What an ordeal to be.
If you watched this with us, felt well fucking done. First of all, and secondly, I want to say a big thank you. Obviously, we've had our end of season 1 wrap up already. You will have heard our outro. Me and Ryan did a little teaser where we said goodbye and just kind of wrapped up the year. But this is our Christmas special. We didn't invite you to.
It was Star Wars, nothing but Star
I was more thinking, is it a
Wars.
teaser if it's a teaser for no content? Surely a teaser's like, ooh,
It's
guess
a
what's
clip.
to come.
It's a clip show.
Our teaser's like, ooh, there's nothing else
There's
to
nothing
come.
in.
That's it.
But we hope you have a wonderful holiday period. We will be back next year in February, so do look out for that. Obviously, the Instagram will still be live, so you can check out all
February.
that stuff there. But other than that,
February.
look after yourselves. Have a very safe holiday.
I'm picking all the films next season.
Yeah,
Oh, got some good
I kind of want to know what they'd be. I do
Got
feel
some
like
good ones.
I do think because originally this is probably off mic stuff, but originally I did want you guys to pick films. I might give you one film.
He made it sound like it was an option.
I
and chose
might
every
give
film.
you
Pretty much.
one
I give,
film.
I gave
We will
them
record once a month, guys. You will come round to our house, but I might give you
one film to share.
yeah, one between all three of you. Yeah, you get one. But do keep yourself safe, and we love you very much. And Liam out. See you guys next year.
My vote's on Green Lantern.